What's up, everybody? We are here to talk about a new case today, the Alexee Trevizo. I think that's how you say it. If not, I will learn as we continue to cover it. But a lot of you have emailed in, especially with this new civil lawsuit filed by her attorney for negligence against the hospital. So most of you probably know what this case is about by now, especially if you clicked on the video. This is about the 19-year-old girl who left her baby in a trash can, literally, at the hospital after claiming she did not think or know she was pregnant. Obviously, certain things she said were not true. There were some discussions with her and her mom at the hospital that day that can be used as admissions. She has been formally charged with the death of her baby and other things surrounding that scenario. So to give us kind of an overview of the case today, we're going to watch about a 15-minute video of some police body cam that show us what happened that night at the hospital, how we got to the criminal charges that this 19-year-old girl was charged with. She's out on bond. There have been motions to be filed so that she can go to college and see her boyfriend and things like that. A lot of people are not happy about how she's kind of being treated with, what it seems like kid gloves throughout the process after doing something so horrible or allegedly doing something so horrible. Well, she admitted at this point, right? So I think we know that even if she didn't cause the death, she did leave it in a trash can, lie to everybody, and not tell anybody, which is a very horrible thing that hopefully she will learn from, but is not to be taken lightly and is a crime in and of itself. Whether or not she is liable for causing the death, I think is a more interesting question. And I think this civil lawsuit will call that into question. So if you're interested in this case and you do want me to cover it and you're one of the people that sent it to me and asked me about it, please hit that like button, subscribe to our page. And if there is enough interest, as always, and this is content you all want to talk about, think we can learn from, then we will continue covering it. And like I said, first part of the video is going to be watching this body cam footage. Second part, we're going to dive into that civil lawsuit, or at least what we can find so far about that civil lawsuit, and talk through if they even actually have a legitimate argument that somebody other than Alexee Trevizo could have been the cause of death in this case. So first, body cam footage.
Lexi, I told you about this.
You are detained. You are not free to leave at this point. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. How big is the baby?
It's full term.
What?
So we started working her up. We did a pregnancy test on her, showed positive. She was denying that she had sex.
So they bring her in. The very first part was like a clip that happens later in the video. They bring her in. She goes to the hospital for back pain. They give her some pain medication, which again, we'll talk more about when we talk about the civil lawsuit. They tell her, they do a pregnancy test. She is pregnant. Now, it's pretty common for them to ask if you're pregnant. They don't always do a pregnancy test. Sometimes they do or have a reason to. She denied ever having sex, denied that she was pregnant. There are statistics like, 2,500 women a year don't realize they're pregnant when they show up. But some photos have surfaced about her. I'm not going to put any up. But where you may think that maybe she was pregnant, or you could see or tell that she was pregnant, there was some talk about it, I guess, in her friend group. She's been called some nasty things like a manipulator and a liar and things like that. She apparently thought she was eating McDonald's every day with her boyfriend and thought she was just putting on weight and that was normal. Okay. So that's kind of just some of the stuff that's out there. I don't know how pertinent it is to what actually happened and what science and experts and we can prove happened with video evidence and testing that actually caused all of this. Now there's pictures, I'm sure you've seen her running through the hallway, kind of holding underneath her like she's trying to keep something from coming out. She locks herself in the bathroom. All of those facts we're going to hear about a little bit more here, but it is interesting to see this from the body cam perspective, especially when we get to admissions that she makes, especially to her mom.
Then she said she had to go to the bathroom. She went to the bathroom. She was in there for quite a while. We kept knocking on the door. Finally, we got her to open the door, and there was blood everywhere. She was cleaning it up. Okay. So we took her back to the room, and I was afraid that she knew she was pregnant. She had done something to herself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's self-explanatory what he thought. But again, there was blood that she was cleaning up, and then she admits putting him in the trash can later. And again, that in and of itself is a crime. But did she cause the death? Is the real big question, I think, left unanswered at this point.
So the doctor started doing an exam on her. We had the lady come to clean the bathroom. She put the baby in the trash can, and then she put another clean liner over the top of it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So when they looked in there, there was no trash in there, but it was underneath the clean bag. The baby's dead. Okay, we have him in trauma too, but she killed the kid.
Yeah. How old was the baby?
I don't know. It's full term. She just had it. She had it in the bathroom. Was what happened.
I mean, the staff, law enforcement, all shocked, dismayed, horrified at what happened here in this case. It is horrifying. It is just yet another kick to the gut when you think about society and stuff that happens and how sad it is. And, mothers and their children just seem to be such a theme all year with these criminal cases that we're dealing with. Incredibly sad story. So I understand if people want to skip through kind of this part and the factual component, but there's a very interesting civil lawsuit component to this that's going to affect the criminal process as well. So I think it's important that we get the context and understand the factual background before we dive in.
And then whatever she did, I don't know. She's going to lie. She wouldn't tell us she's pregnant.
He said she's going to lie, and he's basing that off of conversations he already had where she said she wasn't pregnant. She said she hasn't told him the truth about anything surrounding that so far, so she's probably going to continue to do that.
Okay. So that's what's going on. I just pulled the doctor out of the room, so nothing's been said to the patient or the mother that's in there yet.
Okay.
I have Leela, the housekeeper, if you want to interview her.
Yeah.
She's the one that kind of found.
Yeah, because I wanted to get with you guys first and then get with her to get her statement before I even do anything.
Well, I'm the charge, and this is what has happened. Okay. You can interview the nurse that had her.
Okay. The
2 nurses that were taking care of her. You can talk to the tech, which is Lori. She's the one that went in there and actually found it because Leela's like, this is really heavy. Okay. So then Lori went in there, and then of course the baby was underneath the clean liner.
Okay. Yeah. If we can speak with Lori.
Okay. I'll get Lori.
So the first thing though is I need to make sure that the mother, the woman who delivered the baby, is medically stable.
Right.
I don't know if she delivered a placenta. She's bleeding a lot. I just got her accepted to Loveless. Okay. So I need to get her up there as soon as possible.
Okay.
They need to transfer her hospitals because she's still actively bleeding. They don't know if she delivered the placenta. Again, this is all kind of side stuff, but something that has to be part of it. And that's, they still care about her treatment, her safety. That's incredibly important right now to all of them, which I respect them for. And again, is interesting context when we talk about the medical negligence that's going to be claimed in a lawsuit that we talk about kind of the second part of the video.
Need to tell her what's going on, and I need to tell the mother what's going on. The mother, they're both in there together. Is one of you willing to be present for that conversation? Are you guys going? Yeah. Okay, let's go in right now and get this.
While we're doing that,
and then I'll make sure Leela comes down. All the other nurses and stuff are here, and I'll get Leela here. Okay. She's in the Hey, Marina, will you get Leela back down here? Marina.
I'm sorry, we discovered a dead baby in the bathroom.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. It came out of me and I didn't know what to do.
Lexi, I told you about this.
So she admits right there, it came out of me and I didn't know what to do. So again, not causation of what happened to the baby, but that she knew it came out of her. Didn't just fall on the floor and she walked out of the bathroom and didn't even realize what happened or thought she went to the bathroom. They found the baby in the toilet. Anything like that could even be explained away, which again, I can understand if people even take issue with that how is that possible? But she doesn't even bring up any of that. She knew that's happened. And, she makes admissions. Her mom starts saying stuff like, are you being serious? I told you, haven't you seen what happens to girls who do this? They go to prison. And again, admissions start coming out that will be used in criminal court with, depending on what the charge is. Again, she doesn't admit to causing it. And she has been charged with causing it. So we'll see how they prove, because the state's going to have to prove if they are going to go forward, which it seems like they are on the M1 charge of actually causing the death. They're going to have to prove she actually caused it, which I know this whole scenario seems kind of crazy. And, she should have done something else. She should have done something different. Absolutely. But it is possible that she did not cause the death. It is possible. And the state has to prove that she did cause it beyond a reasonable doubt.
This. I just asked you, baby, to tell me the truth.
Her mom just apparently asked her, tell me the truth about it. And again, we don't know if that's because of how she looked, if that's because the pregnancy test was positive. Her mom knew she was lying. Obviously, once pregnancy test was positive, she said she never had sex and was on birth control and things like that. But
Was scared. It was not crying or nothing.
and then she says the baby was not crying or nothing. And that's a common theme throughout. She said it wasn't crying, wasn't making any noises. You know, I didn't know what to do. I was scared.
What did you do to it?
Okay, stop right here. Stop. Number one priority, guys. Number one priority.
So the nurse steps in instead of like a lawyer, and the mom's like, what did you do to it? You know, asking for another admission with the cops standing right there in the room with the body cam footage on. And the doctor's like, stop. First priority is mom's health here. And we need to get her treated.
Just had a baby. I don't know if she's delivered the placenta. She's bleeding significantly.
Yeah.
I've spoken to the obstetrician at Loveless. They want her out there as soon as possible. Okay. I obviously need your permission to transfer her for medicals. She's
19.
Oh, you're right.
But she is a student too.
She's still 19 years
you're
old.
right.
Mom's like, she is a student too. Maybe I should make decisions for her. But she's 19, so that decision's on her. And later on, the cops say, your mom's out of the room. You're an adult. You know, you don't have a right for your mom to be sitting in the room with you when we talk to you.
You're right. She needs to. I'm sorry, I forgot she's 19. You need to make sure that you're safe. I need to send you to Loveless to labor delivery. Will you please agree to that?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm going to work on that. In terms, I'm sorry about this, but in terms of delivering a baby and it looked like you tried to hide it, we do have to have the police involved.
And nothing was crying. It came out with nothing.
I know. But the baby's going to have to be taken for...
Again, she says nothing was crying. You know, it came out with nothing.
Autopsy and there'll be an investigator and everything. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But we need to do this correctly. And I want to be transparent with you about what our steps are going to be. Officer, do you guys need to talk to her before we get her transferred?
How long is it going to be before you have to transfer
I
out?
don't know. Are we working on?
Okay.
Marina, do you think 20, 30 minutes?
Yeah, hopefully, yes.
Okay.
I got detectives on the way, so they're going to be talking to her.
Okay.
Do you guys have, I'm the charge nurse here. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Like, how big is the baby?
It's full term.
What? 9 months? Nothing was crying. Lexi, have you watched the news of the girls what they do to their babies and what they go to jail?
Her mom clearly does not believe her, right? I mean, I don't think that's a stretch. And she's like, are you being serious right now? The baby was full term, 9 months. What did you do to the baby? Why did you just lie to me when I asked you? Have you not seen the news? What happens to girls that do this?
Any other questions? Okay.
So as of right now, like I'm going to say this, we're going to have the detectives come over here and they're going to talk to you. Okay. We have to gather some more information about what's going on. They'll get your statement. They're going to get the doctor's statements. They're going to get everybody's statements. Okay. So I don't know everything yet. Okay. So I'm not going to tell you. I can't tell you nothing honestly. Okay. All I can say is,
Could go to jail.
right now, well, right now she's being detained, so she's not going to leave from here at all. Period. Okay, so one of us will be in
your custody. Like,
yeah, she's detained. Yeah, she's not under arrest, but she is detained. Okay, she's not free to leave. So while this whole thing is coming up, you're not free to leave. Okay, one of us will be in here the whole time with you, because you're not going to try to leave or nothing like that.
She won't.
Like I said, the detectives will be here. They're going to talk to you. I mean, your care is of the utmost right now, okay? They're going to do what they need to do to take care of you to make sure you get stable. They get you transferred out or whatever. Like I said, the detectives are already been notified. They're already on the way. So they're going to come talk to you, all right? So don't leave. Don't try to do nothing. One of us is always going to be in here in this room with you, okay? Unless we have to step out for doctor's orders, something like that, because if they need to examine you or do something with you. But other than that, like I said, you are detained. You are not free to leave at this point. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Where was the baby at?
I don't know. I have no clue yet. Like I said, I just talked to the charge nurse. We're still getting all the information right now. Okay. Once we get that information, like I said, the detectives, they can clue you out on everything and talk to you more about it. Okay. All right. Do you happen to have an ID on you, perchance?
Yes, she does.
Okay. Can we get that?
Mm-hmm.
All that information. Call it in. Not on radio. Oh, okay. Hang tight right here with her. Okay. I'll be back. Ma'am, could we get your ID also, please?
Yes.
Yeah. If everything calm. I'll get her. Yeah, you'll be fine.
I'll be back.
Exactly. 7:30. Okay.
You put it in the bag.
Yes.
And again, you can kind of hear this conversation between them where she says he wasn't crying. I didn't know what was happening. I was scared.
From what bag? Why did you say anything to us? Do you want to get in trouble for this now? You could get in trouble for this.
Mom, just give it time, okay? Let me speak to detectives whenever she's ready, okay? You ready for this?
I can't remember. She said you can speak to detectives. I think I can't really make out what he's saying, but she's like, the mom's like, stop lying. You could get in trouble for this. You will get in trouble for this at this point.
Second one. Second. Last three of that second one. The last three of the second one is 323.
Okay, Alexee. I know it's kind of tough right now, okay? I know you're scared. I know everything is okay. As of right now, I cannot allow your mom to be in here with you, okay? So once the detectives get here, then she may be able to come back in here. But as of right now, I can't allow her to be back in here, okay? If you need something, we're not going to stay in here, okay? Because I think it makes it worse that we're here anyway, all right? Obviously. And I know you're scared. So what we're going to do is we're going to stay on the outside of the door, okay? As long as you promise me you're not going to hurt yourself, okay? Like I said, this is a lot. I know it is, okay? You're young, you know. I don't want to be in here kind of adding to your anxiety and everything else, okay? If you need something, just push that button, okay? And then they'll come in there. They're on the way, okay? Okay? So as soon as they get here, they're going to talk to you. I mean, the reason why your mom, well, not yet. So I can't let you back in here yet. Yeah, once they get here, then it's up to the detectives to get out of them if you can come back here. If they're okay with her coming back here.
Cops trying to diffuse the situation as much as possible, not make her more anxious, not make it worse for her. Knows it's a lot. They keep asking, is she detained? Is she arrested? And they're basically like, not yet, but you're not going anywhere. You are detained, but not arrested yet. And we need to transfer you to this other hospital.
Come back here. Okay. The reason why is because you're an adult. You're 19 years old. If you're a juvenile, I would gladly have it back in there. Okay. But when you're an adult, I can't have you. If you have any questions, like say push that.
Can I grab some points?
Yeah.
This is giving us permission to transfer you to witness. Dr. Berry is going to take you. You sign here. One more form. This is for the flight crew. Is going to transfer you to that facility. So if you sign the date, today's the 27th. They'll be here for her in 30 minutes.
Huh?
They're going to transfer her in 30 minutes.
Okay, I'll let them know. Okay, thank you. Okay, we're going to be out there. If you need something, let us know. Okay. I mean, once she gets taken or whatever, then
I got it.
yeah.
I was just
One baby, like a baby in the bag. Full baby. She had the baby.
Right.
She's still in there. She's gonna get hair lifted out, transferred out for because she's still whatever she's.
He just basically explains what's going on to, I think these are the detectives or somebody else that showed up.
I got the bathroom. Housekeeper went in there because they called her to go clean it up. So I got the bathroom closed off, and then I got the trauma room closed off because the trauma room, the housekeeper went in there because they called her to go clean it up. So obviously before she checked the trash can, she cleaned everything up. When she threw everything in the trash can, she looked it up, felt it was heavy, put it down. When she looked in there, and that's when she saw the baby. And then, yeah. So then they took obviously the baby in the trash can, trauma one, put the baby on the table, and then that's when everything
I'll take away.
But other than that, so I got both of those closed off.
Hospital's complaint? Hospital's complaint?
Well, see, she was cleaning it up first so she was in there. So she said she actually didn't hear because one of our other guys had arrested her, and she said, "Hey, she needs to go to the bathroom." And so they had her go to the bathroom. About 10 minutes later, they went to knock on the door, but she didn't come out. So they're like, "Hey, are you okay?" Check on her. She's like, "Yeah, yeah." They didn't want to come out. They want to come out. Gave her another, like, I guess 10 minutes. And then they said, "We're going to open the door." And then when she opened the door, there was blood and shit everywhere. So they called housekeeping. Obviously, they didn't know the baby was in
Yeah, they didn't know. They just thought it was like a bloody mess in there. They didn't know what they were going to find, obviously.
But yeah, like I said, the housekeeper cleaned up the floor
and that's the gist. And then to get an idea of what I was talking about as far as the picture of her that they also caught kind of running to the bathroom, holding underneath like she was literally going to give birth. So you kind of get the idea of the facts surrounding the case, how we got to the criminal charges. And again, things going on with that, which we're going to follow. If you guys are interested in it, you can let me know by hitting that like button. Let me know in the comments and by subscribing to our page. But then this civil aspect is really interesting and kind of strange and different when you have a criminal case like this. But if you look at it from purely a medical negligence scenario, it may be more of a legitimate argument than you think. So let's dive into that now. All right, so let's get to this civil lawsuit by way of an article reporting on it, quoting from it, because I cannot find the actual lawsuit itself. When we get there, when we see it, we will dive deeper into it. You might not be able to even read this website, but I will read it to you and kind of explain where we're at as far as a civil lawsuit goes for medical negligence and how that could affect the criminal case as well, and why there would even be a situation where there will be a civil lawsuit when she is accused of the crime, being the mother of the child. So an attorney for Trevizo said or claims that she has been unfairly vilified, denies that she strangled her son, and is accusing medical staff at the Artesia General Hospital of plying her with a cocktail of drugs, including morphine, that killed the child before birth. The fact is, she did not kill her baby. The testing that was done to determine that she did is so antiquated that it is medieval. There was no strangulation. This is not a murder case, the attorney said, adding that he will show that the drugs that Trevizo allegedly received before the staff knew she was about to give birth are inappropriate for pregnant women, particularly those in labor. This certainly was the primary cause of death for the baby. Guess what does cause major breathing issues in fetuses? Morphine, he says. Mitchell claimed the toxicology report shows that the baby had 0.19 nanograms of morphine in his system at birth. That's the baby, not Alexee. And that he also tested positive for COVID-19, influenza A and B, and severe acute respiratory syndrome, or SARS, according to the outlet. So what is really interesting about this, okay, let's say she just has the baby and it comes out as a stillborn or is not alive at birth. Tragic, incredibly sad, does happen from time to time. If there were no criminal charges in this case, and if you could prove that the doctors gave this cocktail of drugs to Alexee before they even knew she was pregnant, potentially, now, I think there will be mixed medical evidence on whether or not this, cocktail could cause the type of damage we're talking about in this case, could aid in the death of an infant. I think most will agree it shouldn't be the first thing given to a pregnant person, but she denied the pregnancy, right? They did give a test and it came back positive, but they apparently administered these drugs prior to finding that out. So if there was no criminal action, if she didn't do anything in the bathroom, but just has this baby in the hospital and this happens, this is not an uncommon medical malpractice lawsuit. Administering the wrong drugs, not doing the testing before deciding what drugs you're going to administer to the patient is absolutely a legitimate and reasonable beginning to a medical negligence case, right? I haven't had my doctor experts look at this or say anything about it to say that this is a slam dunk case or that there was medical negligence here. I will just say there is enough here for a prima facie case of medical negligence if the wrong medication was prescribed based on the condition of the patient, especially if you're going to say something like, oh, it was so obvious that she was pregnant, so she must have been lying. Well, if it was so obvious, the medical staff at the hospital should have known she was pregnant as well, because she is getting condemned of that publicly. And again, what she did with the baby afterwards is deplorable, and there's no getting around it. And she admitted doing it. I don't care how scared you are or what. Horrible to do. But if the prescription medication that was administered prior to her delivery did cause the death of the baby, obviously that has huge ramifications on a first-degree murder charge. You have to prove that this was an intentional homicide, that she caused the death intentionally. Premeditation, we've talked through like how long do you have to premeditate. It doesn't have to be a long, drawn-out plan for months, but she could have planned it in the moment, running to the bathroom, hiding it afterwards. All of that could show premeditation. So when we talk about what a civil lawsuit looks like in this situation, there is more here than might initially meet the eye. The attorney also reiterated the cheerleader's contention that she did not know she was pregnant, even though she had gained weight, which she blamed on birth control pills. Women will say to me she gained 10 or 15 pounds, so she must have known. But this was on her period when she went into the hospital, or she was on her period when she went into the hospital. Scientifically, 1 in 2,500 women do not know they are pregnant. I think I missed that before. I said 2,500 women a year. 1 in 2,500 women do not know that they're pregnant when they deliver, especially teenagers. She went to McDonald's every day with her boyfriend. She thinks putting on a little weight is normal, taking birth control pills. She's having period. She didn't feel kicking. She didn't feel sick. All reasonable, right? If you want to say that, but like she ran to the bathroom and then did that with the baby afterwards, right? So at some point she knew she was pregnant and didn't do the right thing. I'd also be interested to know, was it just 10 to 15 pounds? Why would you think she was pregnant? Goes to the hospital. She's admitted. 12:03, she's admitted to 12:05. At 12:18, they started giving her muscle relaxants. 12:28, they give her morphine before they knew she was pregnant. So maybe, that they could argue that hospital staff didn't know she was pregnant either by looks. Then they give her a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory medication used to treat pain. And NSAIDs have the potential for causing fetal cardiovascular adverse reactions, according to the National Institutes of Health. Ondansetron is prescribed during pregnancy to help with symptoms of nausea and vomiting, the NIH says. They gave her cyclobenzaprine, a muscle relaxer, acetaminophen, and morphine, which you are definitely not meant to give during labor, the lawyer said. And I assume if he's saying it, he has some experts that are going to back it up. And that would really not surprise me. So they did this at 12:28-ish. And by 12:51, they knew she was pregnant. This is based on the medical records, based on the pregnancy test. At 1:39, she enters the bathroom. So over an hour after this medication that he's calling a lethal cocktail was administered, she gave birth. It is absolutely possible. I don't know if he's going to prove it by a preponderance of the evidence or whatever the civil burden is, or if it's enough to overcome a beyond a reasonable doubt standard by the state. But I think it's plausible that this could have had an effect on the death of the child. Definitely doesn't absolve Alexee Trevizo of all of her wrongdoing. Definitely not. We're not saying that. But this is at least a plausible explanation that she said the baby wasn't crying. And some of the horrific descriptions of the baby when it was found by the hospital staff. He claims they violated her HIPAA. Again, that does not have any effect on whether or not or who caused the death.